The passing of Juice WRLD is very complicated, with many theories on the internet sharing false information about it. Here's the truth behind Juice WRLD passing, as well as words from Juice WRLD's friends that were with him the day he sadly passed. Now let's get straight into it. Now the day starts on December 8th in 2019. Juice WRLD, alongside his girlfriend Ali and a few others, were flying in a private jet, landing into Chicago. Before landing at Chicago's Midway International Airport, Juice WRLD was informed by one of his security guards while mid-flight that law enforcement were tracking his flight and were awaiting his arrival at the airport, as the pilot of the airplane ended up giving law enforcement a tip that there was a smell of narcotics in the air. On Juice WRLD's private jet, he sadly had multiple illegal things on the flight. On the private jet, there was 70 pounds of narcotics stuffed into suitcases. There was 2 firearms with high-capacity ammunition magazines, as well as a bag full of narcotic pills. Now imagine having that on a private jet and knowing that law enforcement is waiting for you to land. That's a recipe for disaster. Now, law enforcement believe that during the flight, when Juice WRLD and his team were told that law enforcement was awaiting for their arrival, Juice WRLD ingested more and more of the narcotic pills in an attempt to hide them from the authorities that were awaiting their land. Now, the plane was rented out in Juice WRLD's name. This means that all of the illegal items that were on the flight would then be put onto him. So when the law enforcement search his plane, whatever illegal items they find, Juice WRLD will then be charged with it. Now, we're unsure of the exact amount of time that Juice WRLD would have been locked up in prison for having all of these illegal things, but according to lawyers, they predict that a maximum of 20 years in prison for using a private jet to transport 70 pounds of narcotics across the United States, as well as carrying 2 illegal firearms holding high magazines, is about right. So when you take into account everything that was illegal on the private jet, if you take in roughly about 20 years in prison is what Juice WRLD would have been looking at in prison time. Why there was 70 pounds of narcotics on a private jet, we're still unsure of to this day. But obviously, it's a very, very serious deal, as that's practically transporting narcotics, which is highly illegal, especially in the United States. But hearing that information, that would cause anybody to freak out and get very nervous. So when you add all of the narcotics that Juice WRLD took, mixed in with all of the nerves of law enforcement literally awaiting your arrival to an airport, knowing what you have on that private jet, it caused Juice WRLD's heart to kind of go into an overdrive state, which sadly then caused the seizure inside of the airport. When the private jet landed in Chicago, they were quickly swarmed by law enforcement. Allegedly, there was 20 agents surrounding the private jet. They brought out canine units. They brought out everything you could ever think of. Juice WRLD, as well as everyone that was on the jet with him, were escorted inside of the airport while the private jet was being searched. When stepping into the airport, that's when it all happened. Juice WRLD, he ended up feeling very nauseous, and sadly, witnesses claim that they saw this all happen to Juice WRLD directly inside of the airport. Paramedics quickly swarmed Juice WRLD, trying to help him and everything that they could. Juice WRLD was then quickly transported to an emergency care center, and that is sadly where Juice WRLD passed. 2 of the security guards that were with Juice WRLD while on the flight, they ended up taking the firearm charges, that way nobody else had to deal with them. The 2 security guards were arrested at the scene for the firearms while inside of the airport. Then WRLD's photographer was also arrested. He was then booked and charged with a misdemeanor of firearm violation. Nobody was actually charged for the 70 pounds of narcotics that were on the flight. Law enforcement believe that Juice WRLD was trying to get less of a charge for when he lands by consuming a good majority of the narcotics. It's a true tragedy of what happened. Juice WRLD's record label, Interscope, then issued a statement regarding the late rapper's passing. They said, and I quote, "Juice WRLD made a profound impact on the world in such a short amount of time." The statement continues by saying, "He was a gentle soul whose creativity knew no bounds. He was an exceptional human being and an artist who loved and cared for his fans above everything else." To lose somebody so kind and so close to our hearts is devastating. Our thoughts are with Juice's family and friends, everybody at his label Grade A, and his millions of fans around the world. Now, Juice WRLD was the young age of 21 when he sadly passed. Now, the entire truth behind his passing, as I shared in this video, will also be brought into a documentary form. The rise to fame, as well as the passing of Juice WRLD, is actually getting worked on in a full documentary, which is releasing very soon. The documentary, it explores the life and passing of the young hip-hop star Juice WRLD. It also features other rappers such as The Kid Laroi, Lil Bibby, Polo G, Trippie Redd, and Cole Bennett. This will allegedly be getting premiered between November 10th and 14th. Many big-name sources also claim a Juice WRLD album will also be getting released within that time frame as well, which is some very exciting news for all Juice WRLD fans. But there was the truth behind Juice WRLD's passing. If you guys would like me to make a video about any other rapper's truth behind their passing, drop the rapper's name down below in the comments, and if you are a Juice WRLD fan, leave a like on the video. I'm curious how many fans are actually watching today. Anyways, it's been District Trending, and I'm out. Peace.